Welcome everyone to another episode of Cryptid Mysteries. I apologize for the last video. It was, I think the audio was pretty bad. You could barely hear me. So hope this one will be better. And this story goes like this. August 5th, 2017, Mammoth, California. My ex-fiance and I were avid climbers, hikers, and explorers of the East Side Sierra Nevada mountain range, and we decided to go up to Yosemite to climb. Now, Yosemite is stupid crazy to get campsite reservations for, so we decided to stay on BLM land a few miles down the 395 from Mammoth, California, where we didn't have to pay for camping. We pitched our tents and got settled in and made dinner. Then I went off to put our trash bags up about 1,000 feet from camp. I don't like having bears next to my tent. It started to rain a little bit, so we went into the tent and fell asleep until about 10:30 that night. It was probably 1:30 in the morning on the 5th. It stopped raining and I had to take a leak. So I put my flip-flops on and headlamp and started walking to a spot where I figured it was far enough away that it wouldn't attract any wild animals. Now, it had just stopped raining and the forest was dead quiet. So I dismissed the silence as everything was hunkered down. From where I was taking a leak, the trash bag was about 200 yards to my right. As I finished up, I looked to make sure that the bag wasn't blown down during the relatively heavy storm that just finished up. It wasn't in the tree. I looked at the ground and saw the biggest black bear that I've ever seen. So I started hollering and screaming and making a lot of noise to scare it off. And then I said, "Screw this." Then it stood up and it looked at me. It was covered in hair and it was about 8 foot tall and as wide as a meter stick that ran off. I said, "Screw this, I'm going back to the tent," and I sprinted all the way back, the entire way. I get back in the tent and my fiance asked me, "Why are you yelling?" And I told her I was scaring off a bear from the trash bag. She snuggles back in and falls asleep. I'm wide awake, listening intently for any movement outside the tent, when I started hearing footsteps around the car where we kept the food. And then the footsteps started coming toward the tent, and I got scared thinking that this thing, whatever it was, can just come through the tent if it wanted to. It started touching the tent. I could hear heavy breathing and grunting. Then my fiance wakes up and she freaks out thinking it was a bear and grabbed the keys and hit the panic button on the car. Whatever the creature was, it ran off. I didn't encounter anything again that trip, and I played it off as it was a bear, and we should probably find somewhere else new to camp the next night. On August 5th, we packed it up and left early to go climb at Yosemite. And when we came back that night and the new campsite, I approached another camper that I had recognized from a previous trip, and he asked me if I noticed anything weird going on the previous night. I told him the story, and he said that he had heard my screaming and the car alarm, and both times shortly after, someone went full loop through his campsite. While going into his vehicle the next morning, he noticed that there were huge handprints on his car windows, and he was freaked out enough to move to another spot as well. He pitched a tent about 30 feet from where we were at, and for the remainder of the trip, we remained together. I'm not sure what I saw, but the closest thing I can relate it to is Bigfoot. Well, that was a pretty good story, guys. It really wasn't that well written, so I was having a little problem. I had to go through and edit some of the things out of it, some of the profanities and all. But I want to thank you guys for listening. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit that notification bell to be notified for any future and upcoming videos that we'll have to offer. And share it. Share it with all your friends and family. And I hope everyone enjoyed the show. And again, until the next video,